What is a good MICAT score, which will help me to clear the cutoffs?
We don't only look at the scores, we tend to look at percentiles, raw scores. We also tend to look at the number of questions that you've attempted.
Okay. If I'm not very creative or I haven't done anything creative in my past academics or experience.
So let me ask you, what does it mean to you when you say that I am or I am not creative? A lot of people feel that, say this because they haven't sketched in the last 10 years or they haven't written a poem.
Correct.
That's a very limited understanding of the word creativity.
Are you going to make any changes for MICAT 2? Or?
MICAT 2 is likely to be on lines of MICAT 1 as far as the structure is concerned.
Any particular reason why you have introduced the changes this year?
The idea is that even if the exam comes across a bit on the easier side, we want to ensure that more and more people tend to actually attempt questions rather than leaving them.
Hi students, so we are at MICA and we have Professor Taral Pathak with us. And this is going to be a segment where we talk about something that some of you may be even scared of, or some of you may be really looking forward to, which is the MICAT as the test and the selection process of MICA. So sir, thank you so much for taking out time.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you.
So we'll start with, first of all, some of the changes that have happened in MICAT. So a lot of students watching this will be appearing for MICAT 2. And with MICAT 1, the test has become slightly more accessible, I would say a little bit easier on the quant side. That's what students felt for the MICAT 1.
Right.
And changes in the number of questions in the descriptive, in the psychometric.
Yeah.
So any particular reason why you have introduced the changes this year?
We do a lot of background work in terms of crunching data over a period of time. So we tend to look at how many questions students are attempting, what are the average scores, how can we best get to know a candidate. And frankly, through a written exam, the more questions that they attempt, the more we know about the candidate, right? So the idea is that even if the exam comes across a bit on the easier side, we want to ensure that more and more people tend to actually attempt questions rather than leaving them, right? Which is always, so if you would have noticed that we've also had a few questions this time which do not have any negative marking and which do not have the typical MCQ, the choice to be made. You can type out your answers. Again, these are very elementary questions, but for us it gives us a peep into your brain as an applicant, that is this thinking and ticking, and is this a bright mind. As far as the psychometric is concerned, again, we've looked at the previous psychometric test, analyzed a lot of batches that we've got and the kind of work the test does, and over a period of time we go back to the drawing board. We tend to make changes because it doesn't make sense having static tests. As time progresses,
Right.
as the requirement of the industry changes, so does the requirement of the program change, and hence what do we want as a candidate, that also gets redefined every 4-5 years at MICA. So that's the reason why the psychometric also is rejigged this year.
Okay. And sir, a lot of students have questions regarding the descriptive writing section. Firstly, when it is evaluated and how it is evaluated. And second, a lot of students are not able to complete because there are 4 questions. You have to type out the answer. So your typing speed also matters. So sometimes they're not able to complete their responses.
Yeah.
So how is the evaluation done, when it is done? And if I'm not able to complete, then what happens?
So let me take the easier one first. That is, when is it actually looked into, which the process is given on the website. So psychometric happens to be an eliminator. Once you make it through the psychometric, we tend to look at your CAT, ZAT, GMAT cutoff. Once you make it through that, we tend to look at your aptitude section, which is quant, GK, verbal, and so on. After that, the remaining candidates, so candidates who make it through these 3 cutoffs, those descriptive sections are checked. And as you know, descriptive is essentially MICA's secret sauce in terms of looking at how creative is somebody. And hence, if you look at the descriptive paper, it will never give an advantage to a candidate who comes from a particular stream, right? So it is agnostic to the kind of background that you come from. It does not lend into any particular background, and yeah, you've got to throw away your hat where you prepared a lot and just feel free to flow, and that's how you attempt the section. Um, if you don't attempt any one or two questions out of it, you don't get eliminated, but obviously you lose marks. So yes, you're on the back foot as compared to somebody who's attempted all the questions. Otherwise, yeah, there's no negative marking for not attending and stuff like that.
Okay. And sir, with MICAT 2 now, are you going to make any changes for MICAT 2, or the structure that was followed for MICAT 1 will exactly be followed for MICAT 2 as well?
I wouldn't say exactly, but yes, largely we do follow the same structure. Wouldn't want to stick to the word exactly, but yeah, no big surprises there, because when we tend to make changes, we tend to make changes for an entire cycle. We usually don't want to make any changes in between the cycle. So MICAT 2 is likely to be on lines of MICAT 1 as far as the structure is concerned.
Okay. And sir, post MICAT, now of course the CAT score of course also matters, CATs at whichever other exam that they have taken.
Yeah.
Any particular indication in terms of what is a good score? Because that this question we keep getting every time, that what is a good MICAT score, which will help me to clear the cutoffs.
So frankly, I don't have a number with me, because the performance every year changes, right? My only advice would be to attempt as many questions as possible from topics which you are very confident about, because we don't only look at the scores. We tend to look at percentiles, raw scores. We also tend to look at the number of questions that you've attempted.
Okay.
So all of this is important for us, and for anybody who's given the CAT, how's MICAT different? If so, I mean, once you've gone through your CAT preparation, if you were to ask this question, that how is this going to help me practically? Any topic that you've learned in your CAT preparation, if you were to ask yourself this question, that hey, how can I put this concept to use, or whatever I have learned, where can I apply it practically? That's the MICAT paper for you, because all our questions are application oriented questions. So it doesn't call for a lot of rocket science, because you've already cracked those topics in CAT.
Right.
However, what is different is the application. That's what we ask in MICAT.
Okay. And sir, regarding the post shortlisting process, so the group exercise stage, because that is again one area where a lot of people have questions. MICA has had interesting group exercises.
Yeah.
So how do you evaluate group exercises?
So I can tell you the philosophy behind it. The philosophy is that a typical MBA grad works in teams. You go to an organization and you don't tend to work in isolation, right? And a group exercise is basically a simulation of how would he or she behave in a team. How do you handle team dynamics, right? So apart from the fact that how creative you are, how innovative you are in terms of giving suggestions which can be implemented, that can lead to problem solving, right? Apart from all of that, we also want to see that how do you behave in a group setting, right? Are you a born leader? Are you somebody who's willing to wait it out and then take charge? Are you somebody who's going to faff your way through a 20-30 minute exercise? So, and believe me or not, 25 minutes is a long time. When you observe a candidate, you tend to get to learn a lot about candidates.
Right.
So yeah, I haven't told you that how is it evaluated, but I think the smart people would take cues from the philosophy behind it.
Okay. And sir, everybody has this notion that MICA is sort of equated with having only creative set of people. So if I'm not very creative, or I haven't done anything creative in my past academics or experience, then I'm not suitable for MICA or MICAT as a test. So is this something that you have also heard as a misconception about MICA? And if yes, how do you clear that?
So let me ask you, what does it mean to you when you say that I am or I am not creative?
So a lot of students say that I haven't done anything creative. I haven't been part of, say, extracurriculars. I've just done my regular engineering or whichever BSc, BCom, whatever. I haven't displayed any creative
so when you say
competencies.
That, so when you say that, a lot of people feel that say this because they haven't sketched in the last 10
Right.
years, or they haven't written a poem,
Correct.
or haven't uploaded a reel on Instagram. But that's a very limited understanding of the word creativity. It goes well beyond that, and essentially it's a thought process that are you able to think differently, out of the box, when faced with a situation in life. So I'm not talking about the popular ways of expressing creativity, and if that is what you mean by being creative, uh, uh, relax. We are not looking for the next poet, we are not looking for the next painter. What we want are people who are able to think out of the box, and people who can come up with actionable plans for solving problems,
Okay.
whether these are corporate problems or personal problems. uh, we essentially want people who can work hard, who can think out of the box, people who can go that extra mile when it comes to commitment. uh, we very actively look for resilience. Do we have candidates who are resilient, gritty, who can hang in there when the chips are down? All of these are in ways forms of creativity for us.
Okay. And sir, as we conclude, any last piece of advice that you want to share with students who are appearing for MICAT 2? Now, some of them may have appeared for MICAT 1, they're trying for betterment.
Hmm.
Some of them will be taking MICAT for the very first time.
Hmm.
So, any particular advice to these students?
As I said, if you were looking at any particular topic in terms of preparation, it's good to go deep and say, why am I doing this? Because MyCat will get you there to the point. If you've understood the why, the concept behind it, then you're likely to be more comfortable in answering these questions. Uh, on the interview front, if you've made it through MyCat 1 and 2, and if you've come to the stage of giving interviews, I, I'd probably suggest that be honest, be yourself, don't be ashamed of who you are, wear yourself on your sleeve, and just turn up for the interview.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir. Thanks for taking out time. This was very insightful. Even I got to know a lot about the thought philosophy behind the whole MICAT and
Yeah.
the post-MICAT selection process. So, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.